Let me tell you something that is going to make a lot of things suddenly make sense. You have done everything right. You were consistent. You were respectful. You showed up. You said the right things. You were genuinely interested in her, and she still pulled away. She still lost interest. She still chose a guy who did half of what you did and put in a fraction of the effort. And you are sitting there thinking, what am I missing? What does he have that I do not? Here is the answer nobody gives you. She does not respond to effort. She responds to psychology. And the men who understand that psychology, who understand what actually moves women beneath the surface, beneath the words, beneath the logic, those are the men she cannot get out of her head. In this video, we are breaking down the dark psychological principles behind what women actually respond to, not what they say they want, what they genuinely, deeply, instinctively respond to at a level they cannot always explain or control. And once you understand this, everything you've been confused about will finally make sense. Let's get into it. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Machiavelli. Machiavelli was not advocating cruelty. He was pointing to something psychologically precise, that respect, weight, and gravity are more magnetic than warmth and approval-seeking. And in attraction, this principle runs deeper than most men realize. Women do not respond to men who perform for them. They respond to men who carry power. Quiet, settled, internal power that does not need to announce itself. The man who walks into a room and immediately tries to make everyone like him communicates one thing clearly. He is not sure they will. And that uncertainty is visible. It leaks into his tone, his posture, his energy. The man who carries genuine power does the opposite. He does not need the room to respond to him. He is already full. He is already complete. And that completeness, that sense that he does not need anything from anyone in this interaction, is what women feel before he opens his mouth. Women are not drawn to men who need their approval. They are drawn to men whose approval they want to earn. That is the Machiavellian principle applied to attraction. Stop performing for her. Carry yourself like a man whose attention is worth something, and watch the entire dynamic shift without you changing a single word. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This is perhaps Machiavelli's most psychologically precise observation, and it applies to attraction with surgical accuracy. Women respond to perception before they respond to reality. Not because they're shallow, but because perception is what they have access to first. The way you carry yourself, the pace at which you speak, the things you choose not to say, the comfort you have in silence. All of these create an impression before a single fact about you has been established. And here is what most men get wrong. They try to manage perception by presenting facts, by listing their achievements, by explaining who they are through information. But information does not create perception. Energy creates perception. Presence creates perception. The emotional experience of being around you creates perception. Machiavelli understood that the version of you people carry in their minds is built from feeling, not from fact. So the question is not who you actually are. The question is, what does it feel like to be in your presence? What emotional experience does she leave with after talking to you? Because that experience becomes you in her mind long after the interaction ends. Manage your presence, not your image. Your presence is what she actually responds to. Your image is just a story you tell about yourself. And stories are forgettable. Experiences are not. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The wise man understands scarcity. The fool gives everything away and wonders why it stopped being valued. Women respond to scarcity at a psychological level that is almost impossible to override with logic. When something feels rare, when access to it feels earned rather than freely given, the mind assigns it value automatically. This is not unique to attraction. It is how human psychology works across every domain. But in attraction, it is especially powerful. The man who is always available, always responsive, always accommodating, always present, trains the woman he is interested in to take his presence for granted, because presence that costs nothing is worth nothing. Not because he is not valuable, but because he has not allowed her to feel that value through the experience of earning it. The man who women cannot stop thinking about is not the man who gave them everything. He is the man who gave them enough to want more, who was present enough to be felt, but unavailable enough to be missed, who made his attention feel like something worth working for rather than something freely distributed to everyone who asked. Protect your presence. Ration your attention not as a game, but as an honest expression of the fact that your time and energy are genuinely valuable, because they are. And once you truly believe that, she will feel it, and feeling it will make her want more of it. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. The principle behind this famous line is strategic restraint. The understanding that information is power, and the person who controls what is known controls a dynamic. In attraction, the equivalent is never showing your hand completely. Most men overshare. They are so relieved to have her attention that they pour everything out, their entire history, their feelings, their insecurities, their plans, their intentions, all of it immediately, as though total transparency will build trust faster. What it actually does is remove all the tension, all the curiosity, all the reason for her to keep paying attention, because the mind is designed to pursue incomplete patterns. When she does not have the full picture, her brain treats you like a puzzle it needs to solve, and puzzles demand attention. They keep you up at night. They surface in quiet moments when you are not thinking about them on purpose. The man who reveals himself in layers, who gives her enough to be genuinely intrigued without giving her enough to feel certain, becomes a permanent occupant of her thoughts, not because he is hiding who he is, but because he understands that depth revealed slowly is infinitely more compelling than depth revealed all at once. Let her discover you. Give her something to find. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. Machiavelli understood adaptability as a form of leadership. The leader who can read the room, who can sense what the moment demands and respond to with precision, is the leader who keeps power. And in attraction, that same principle defines the men women are most deeply drawn to. Emotional leadership is not about dominating conversation. It is not about being louder or more forceful. It is about reading the emotional temperature of an interaction and having the awareness and groundedness to set the tone rather than react to it. When she is nervous, you are calm. When the conversation gets intense, you slow down rather than speed up. When there is silence, you are comfortable in it rather than rushing to fill it. When she tests you, your energy remains unchanged. You are always the most settled person in the interaction, and that settledness is what she orients toward. Women are deeply attuned to emotional cues. They read energy with precision most men never develop. And when they encounter a man whose emotional state is genuinely stable, who is not moved by her moods, not rattled by uncertainty, not desperate for a particular outcome, something in them relaxes completely, and in that relaxation, desire grows. Because she has found something rare, a man she can feel safe with. And safety, combined with genuine attraction, is the most powerful combination that exists. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. And here's the final truth, the one that ties every principle in this video together. The men women cannot resist are not driven by the need for her love. They are driven by something internal, a mission, a standard, a sense of who they are that does not shift based on her response to them. They do not fear losing her because their sense of self does not depend on keeping her. And paradoxically, that is exactly what makes her afraid of losing them. When a man operates from genuine internal completeness, when he is not chasing her validation, not adjusting himself to earn her approval, not performing for an outcome, he communicates something that bypasses every rational defense she has. He communicates that he is enough. Fully, without her. And a woman who encounters that kind of man faces psychology she cannot easily overcome. She wants to be chosen by someone who does not need to choose her. She wants to earn the attention of someone whose attention is genuinely rare. She wants to be wanted by a man who is already whole, because being chosen by a whole man means something. Being chosen by a desperate man means nothing. Machiavelli wrote about power, but at its core, every principle he identified comes back to the same truth. The person with the least need for a specific outcome holds the most power in any dynamic. Become that man, not through strategy, through genuine self-development, through building a life so full and a sense of self so grounded that no single person's opinion of you can shake it. That is where real attraction lives, and it has never lived anywhere else. So here's what 5 centuries of human psychology, distilled through one of history's sharpest minds, tells us about what women actually respond to. Not performance. Power, not information. Perception, not availability. Scarcity, not transparency. Depth revealed in layers, not reaction. Emotional leadership. And above everything, not need. Completeness. The man who understands these principles does not chase. He does not perform. He does not beg for attention or bend himself to earn approval. He builds himself into someone whose presence is genuinely felt, whose absence is genuinely noticed, whose attention is genuinely worth something. And that man, that grounded, intelligent, self-possessed man, is what women have always responded to, long before dating advice existed, long before psychology had a name. That has always been the answer. Now I want to hear from you. Which principle in this video shifted something for you? Drop in the comments. I read every single one. If this gave you a framework that actually makes sense of what you've been experiencing, give it a thumbs up and share it with a man in your life who needs to hear this today. Subscribe to Decoded Minds for weekly videos on psychology, attraction, and the mindset shifts that separate the men women remember from the men they forget. And check out our other videos while you are here. There's a lot more where this came from. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.